to this week's episode of Savage Says. Hey, Kate.
Hey, kitten caboodles. You see what I did there? Kitten.
Yeah, kit and caboodle. Kitten, caboodle. That's cute.
Let's talk about caboodles.
I was about to say, on the topic of that, something we haven't spent enough time to talk about are caboodles. I loved a caboodle. I still do.
A lost art. I have like a pretty rose gold one that I got not too long ago. And I think it's at home, but it shouldn't be. Especially actually with my upcoming things coming around in March, I'm going to need, I will make good use out of a caboodle. So I probably need to get my hands on that.
Yeah, more to come on the things you mentioned. But for those of you who are not familiar, a caboodle is a very convenient, crafty makeup case produced. I don't even know if caboodle is the actual name for the product. Is it just the brand, or does a different brand make caboodle?
I mean, there's the caboodle, the brand, and then I think that there are the same type of case, not the caboodle brand, but it's kind of like Uber,
Band-Aid.
Uber and Lyft, but I'm calling an Uber. Band-Aid, yes, exactly.
Can I get a Band-Aid? It doesn't have to be Band-Aid brand, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right, but the makeup case itself is a caboodle. Wow.
Yeah, you're right. Because I just Googled caboodle, and it's they're showing me different brands of the same thing, and then they're also showing some caboodle things. So yeah, it's it's very helpful plastic makeup organizer. Most of the time they fold out and they have a mirror involved. And honestly, why did I stop using mine? Because I have absolutely had them, and there's definitely one still in my drawer, but I've moved away from using it. Probably because it doesn't pack very well because it's hard.
That's what I was going to say. It's not very travel friendly, unfortunately, even though I think that's supposed to be the whole point is it's your makeup kit to go. But it's very big and it's lightweight because for the most part they're plastic. But yeah, it just takes up a lot of space. But it has a handle. Right. So I think the point is, especially when we were in our pageant and dance competition era, you had your rolling trunk or whatever, and then you carry that in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet that's good for people who do TV news or other things where you need to take all your makeup at once on the go, but not necessarily packing it in a suitcase.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is actually a good segue into a little bit of news that we have. I can't really share the details, but you can kind of put things together. When I say I'm actually going back to Atlanta for a few weeks. I will be headed there on February 10th for another little stay.
Say she's employed again?
Yeah, I think we can say that. I just don't think we can reveal the show. It's another show, but I can't say what it is.
Yeah, so Caitlin's booked and blessed, and my guest room is also booked and blessed.
It is. That's so funny.
Excited to have you back.
Does it sometimes feel
like so lonely?
You're like an Airbnb host?
No. Because I was here the whole time. Feels more like having my sister come to visit. But my door code. Yes. Well, the room is very clean and tidy for you. Marcia, the housekeeper, was here today. We changed the sheets. We got all the things put away. So it is waiting for your return.
You did?
The bathroom is. Well, yeah, because you think it was clean in there before Marcia came? I had a lot of stuff to put away. Okay. That I had to do before Marcia could get her hands on the sheets and the vacuum. So it was a joint effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yay, we're so excited to have Caitlin back in Atlanta with just a brief break from her last show and this one. I cannot wait to see you perform again with new material.
Thank you. It's really the surprises never end. I'm really most excited to use my cup that I left at your apartment because as a little present in preparation for White Christmas back in December, I got this little candy cane inspired. It was it's a Stanley in theory, but it's by the brand Simply Modern. I got it on Amazon, and it's red, and it's a red bodice, if you will, with a pink top. And it's like a mannequin. So it's like a red and a pink. And so I was like, oh, candy cane. And that was kind of like my Christmas motif this season. But I mean, you know what is also pink and red? Well, any time of the year if you want, but Valentine's Day. And I'm coming right before Valentine's Day. So it's on theme this time around too. So I'm so excited. Also, because I'm coming into town right in the nick of time, I'm trying to convince Kelly to have a Galentine's Day event. And the event doesn't have to be for that many people, mostly just us, but
it's a 2-person Galentine's party. Hey, Matt, you have to get out.
Exactly. Boys aren't invited.
Could you make us dinner before you leave?
Yeah. No, he can stay but he has to drink the girly cocktails. I've just been so inspired by like the girls on TikTok and all the platforms. Except, okay, can we just talk about that for a second? Like, the platform girlies are inspiring until they're just annoying. Because you know what I can't stand?
What?
These like micro trends. And by that I mean like, you know, we're all not like micro trends and like, you know, mini Uggs and like necessarily like material items, but just like the aesthetics. People are literally
the clean girl aesthetic.
The clean girl aesthetic, the vanilla girl aesthetics, like down to like the trends of like nail colors. It's like strawberry milk nails, and it's like, no, they're just light pink.
Yeah, okay.
Not everything totally has to have a name. And like strawberry donut makeup. What does that mean? I don't understand.
Right.
Like,
your
why
face,
do we have to?
Your face shouldn't be trendy.
No. And you, like, why would you want your face to look like a strawberry glazed donut? That sounds like you might have rosacea.
Well, one thing I do want to speak on in support of is the mob wife era trend.
Oh.
Because I've been waiting for this. Because our whole wardrobe has been like clean girl aesthetic, not us. Slicked ponies, minimal makeup, all black sleek looks. Nope, couldn't be us. I'm literally sitting here right now with a pink sweater with leopards all over it. My hair is as voluminous as it could be. My coat closet literally bursting at the seams despite the house just being cleaned today with fur and other over-the-top materials. I have a whole basket of other fur accessories. I don't know. What else is mob wife era?
I don't know. I feel like
eyeliner. I love a black eyeliner.
We have never, ever, ever
gotten away from eyeliner.
Exactly.
Like, no, and like, I mean, I'm so glad we're swinging the pendulum in the opposite direction, because in this clean girl era, I was like, I realized that my like black liquid cat eye is like not like, I'm giving my age away, because that's like a little, I wouldn't say that was probably like 2018, 2019. I don't know, even more recently.
Well, and I think we've actually talked about this on this podcast before. Like, our faces are not made for the clean girl aesthetic makeup look. We're not structurally made, unfortunately, for a light makeup look. Like, we are full glam or bust girlies.
Totally.
Whether it's necessary or not. Like, if I'm putting on makeup, again, because of the trends, I've been trying to do a little bit less, and it's probably, you know, daytime appropriate too in most cases, but I look best with a full beat, with a foundation, with some contour, with some blush and bronzer, like a lash. That's how I look my best.
Anytime I try to do a minimal makeup look, I get what you would think is like done, and I'm like, oh, but why do I look like I did half my makeup and gave up? I might as well just finish. But one thing I will say is, during the work week, if I'm not in person, like if I'm just on Zoom, I have been using Charlotte Tilbury's Flawless Filter, like kind of as a foundation, and like using a foundation brush and just kind of like buffing it all over my face so that it gives me a little bit of color and a little bit of glow, but like isn't a true foundation. And like they're very clear that it is not foundation, but it's kind of giving me the tinted moisturizer vibe that is working. So I will say I've kind of gone in that route. But I digress. I believe if I'm following the trend correctly, mob wife era is exactly the opposite of clean girl aesthetic. And
Yeah.
I am and I have been in my mob wife era. And it just so helps that we are from New Jersey. So we're not even being posers.
Exactly.
This is literally what we were made for.
Totally.
Actually,
I was going to add that fact.
I was going to add that several people in school or friends of mine and like just growing up like largely believed that our dad was in the mob.
Oh yeah.
Which checks out. I'm not if he was in the mob, I wouldn't tell this podcast, probably like, you know, for safety precautions, but
right. It's a myth, but it could not be.
Yeah, like all the facts like line up to a point. Like from New Jersey, he definitely has he does this voice sometimes. He like puts on his like New Jersey voice. He's like, I don't know what he's doing, but
he like cosplays Italian. We're not Italian. That's actually also a myth.
Yeah, that's
there's
Irish mobs.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like the stereotype is like Italian mobster from New Jersey.
Mafia. Yeah. Which by the way, I need to speak to just set the record straight. Like we're not pro mob.
No, definitely
we're not supportive of the mob or the mafia. we just like the look of the women, which is over the top and fur laden.
Just like and
bronzer and spray tans. That's always been part of our culture. Yeah.
Because we are often spray tanned and most people can't distinguish our real skin tone from our faux skin tone. That's kind of another thing that amplifies the Italian aesthetic, which I always take as a compliment. I like wish we had Italian in our blood because we'd probably tan a little bit better in the natural sun. Also, the mob wife aesthetic is perfectly coincided with our accumulation of a spray tan machine.
Yep.
And because I will be returning back to the homeland of Atlanta, that's going to be very much a relevant point of discussion on this podcast going forward.
Absolutely. In preparing for Marcia's visit, her first visit since Christmas, I was moving things around and the spray tan machine has literally been in its box in our dining room since Christmas. I found a more appropriate home for it. But I was like, wow, I'm so excited for Caitlin to get here so we can open this and play around and play spray tan.
It's like arts and crafts, but on our skin. It's our favorite type of arts and crafts. I know.
We have to order a tent.
Yes, I was going to say we have a tent in the homeland of Florida.
Right.
But I don't know how we're going to get that because I do, in fact, not know how to fold it up. And trying to tell Liz how to even attempt to do that would be disastrous. That'd be like a special podcast of its own.
No, that's going to make her cry. Episode. We can't get her to try to do that. I know.
No, so we're just probably going to have to get a new one.
Speaking of spray tans, I think it's worth mentioning that our favorite spray tan business in Jacksonville just announced that it's closing. And by business, which it was, one person has announced that she is no longer spray tanning in Jacksonville. Her name was Allie Sun. We're happy for her. She got engaged and is moving to Georgia. I really probably should inquire where in Georgia, but I think it's South Georgia and not Atlanta. But
that's unfortunate.
Maybe she heard that we got a spray tan machine and was like, you know what? Got to close up shop. Not going to be able to pay the bills without these two.
No way. She was like, oh, well, my clientele has left the building and so should I. But she really did have a good thing going. She had a beautiful like in-home salon. It was like a bonus room or it was like outside of her
mother-in-law
house,
suite of sorts. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was really well kept, which is hard to find. A lot of spray tan places, crusty, musty, dusty. Not Allison's studio. So we appreciate it.
Very much an experience. And she had a good, it was a very specific type of solution that she used that I never had heard of. It's called nude with 2 U's, right?
Yeah, something like that. But that's not what we have.
And I've tried to order it. I know. Couldn't be us. I did try to look into that though, and it was nowhere to be found. So I wonder if you have to be a special licensed
commercial operator
artist.
Well, the thing with Allison's solution, I don't think it was anything she was doing wrong, but for whatever reason, it didn't or like my armpits absorbed it really hard, and then it would like come off of them really quickly. So I would have like super, super tan armpits that like gave shadows, and then they would be completely white, and it was kind of scary. So I've never had that with the Norvell, which is what we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
they
moving
looked
on
like kind of like shallow pits. No pun intended.
Okay. No, I don't want to talk about my armpits anymore. This conversation's over. But tell us about where you were this weekend. We've kind of been on the move all over the map.
Yeah, I feel like this has just become a weekly segment of the pod, is like updating everyone on our whereabouts, because we really are here, there, and everywhere. I went to Pittsburgh for an audition this weekend, and I was prepared that it was going to be an all weekend endeavor. It was for a pretty reputable theater in Pittsburgh. And I was told that like kind of how the audition usually goes, but like it felt like a blast from the past, like convention dance weekend. Not in that I was like dancing from 9 to 6 every day and then going to a competition, but just like the anticipation and the mental exhaustion it thrust upon me. It was truly something. What?
I wasn't there. Obviously, our kitties weren't there either. And we probably have I'm sure some listeners do know how this goes, but like, can you elaborate a little bit more on like what was different with this audition's format than a typical audition in New York that you've gone to in other cases?
Yeah. So this is a very loaded question because they kind of all go differently and there are different types of auditions. So this one was an open call audition, which means anybody from anywhere is welcomed to sign up. This one operated with a sign-up system to where you had to pre-register for the audition. And if you got a slot, great, you're welcome to come. You don't have to be of any union status, which is Actors Equity Association, which is the union that most actors, dancers, singers, musical theater performers in New York and elsewhere are part of when they reach a certain point in their career usually. This was not an equity call, so anybody could come and audition for their season, which is in the summer. I don't think this is necessarily considered summer stock, which is a term you'll hear a lot kind of in like the theater world. I'm still trying to to clarify what that actually means, because I assumed it was just any theater that had a summer season, more than one show for a summer. For instance, the Muni, that's one of the biggest, baddest theaters, if you will. Very reputable. It's in St. Louis, Missouri, and they do 7 shows, I think, in like 8 weeks or something. Crazy. They're just like whipping them out. But I think actually summer stock is...
Here, I just Googled it. Can I tell you the result and you tell me if you think this is right or wrong?
Yes.
Also, if the Matthews are listening and can tell us what summer stock is and if we're right or wrong, that would be helpful.
Please let us know.
Resident Broadway plugs, the Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
The Oxford Dictionary says theatrical productions by a repertory company organized for the summer season, especially at vacation resorts or in the suburban area. But then onstage.com blog says the stock portion of the name comes from the tradition of staging shows by a resident company and reusing stock scenery, props, costumes, and the same actors all summer long.
Yes.
So it's essentially like they hire one cast, they do many shows over the summer, but it's not new cast for each show.
Yes. So that's where I was getting at in my word salad jumble, is that I think summer stock is technically a theater that hires one company and they put on many shows. Or for instance, like I met a new friend from this audition who worked at Music Theater of Wichita. They hired like a something ensemble, it was called, like a resident ensemble. And the ensemble was all the same for every single show. And it was like a 4-month contract, but they would bring in different people for the leads. So I think as time has gone by, it has different iterations maybe, and just like the general term is summer stock, but it's what they like to call audition season here in New York and everywhere, in that a lot of theaters are hiring for their summer seasons, which are largely the most popular. So anyway, what I was trying to say earlier was this theater does a summer season, but it's not necessarily all of the same cast. So I don't think it's technically considered summer stock. Anywho, they held an open call audition in Pittsburgh. So they're not coming to New York. They're not accepting video submissions of any kind. You have to be in person to audition for this. And I think the first year back of them doing that since COVID was last year. So it was like kind of a big hoopla last year and like was kind of chaotic and received
Probably
a lot
had,
of buzz. So
a really big turnout. Is that why?
Yes. And so it was kind of like the name on everybody's lips. So luckily, one of my friends from White Christmas lives in Pittsburgh. She goes to school at the esteemed Carnegie Mellon University and was kind enough to let me stay with her for this audition. And that's kind of also how I got my foot in the door and knew about the audition to get a time slot, because it was like the time slots opened. I think it was like early January on, let's say, January 3rd. They're taken within like 30 minutes or so. So,
oh, wow.
It's
like the
kind
polo
of,
bar.
yeah. Yes, exactly. It's kind of like the more you know.
You got to know. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's a network for sure.
Every experience you have leads you to something else, because like if you didn't meet your friend Kiara and White Christmas, you would never have known about this.
No, probably not. And they put listings on. So if you don't have an agent, or if you do have an agent, but the public kind of site to find all of these auditions, there are a few. There's Backstage, Actors Access, but most people use playbill.com. And like anyone listening to this podcast could go and filter, jobs available, listings for performers specifically, or if you're looking for like a stage management job, or even you want to do advertising in kind of like the theater industry, you can filter all those things and find jobs that are available. But all of the theater companies, including Broadway, post listings. Some of them are required to do so, and they're not necessarily looking for new talent, but they're required to do it, I think, union rules or something. I don't know. Anyway, so it's kind of a gamble, but that's where you can find pretty much every opportunity that's happening. So I could have looked on Playbill and found that, in which I think actually several days later I did, but I heard about it first from, the connections that I had. And so throughout all of this and every experience that I have, I'm just like learning so many new things. And so I'm very thankful. But
that's wonderful.
This was a very interesting experience. What were you saying?
I was saying that's wonderful. That's what life is all about.
That's right. And just like
life.
Looking back.
Funny as it may seem.
Yeah. Beautiful. They like just even the difference like from this time last year versus this time this year. It's like I've already had so many. I feel like I'm so ahead of the game, not in comparison to other people, but ahead of my own game. Like as opposed to last year where I was just kind of like, we're here and I'm just like playing New York and like I'm doing everything for experience. Man, now I feel like it's kind of like I have my head in the game and it's like I kind of know a little bit more of what I'm doing, and so it's exciting.
That is exciting. And there's nothing like experience, and that's what I always said about pageants is like you can hire a coach and they will help you like with some hacks and getting ahead on things you otherwise would have had to figure out for yourself over time. But figuring it out for yourself over time is it's incomparable to anything anyone else will tell you. Yeah.
Yes. And that's life, as you said. Savage says that's life.
Getting to Pittsburgh, you did a very brave thing.
Oh, yes. I flew Spirit for the first time ever. Now, not to say that I am a stranger to budget-friendly flying options. I was like Allegiant's number one fan, number one supporter back in 2018, 2019, when there was a direct flight from McGee Tyson Airport in Knoxville, Tennessee to Sanford/Orlando Airport. So I had been around the block when it came to, airlines being a little bit tricky with their rules and regulations. Yes.
I one time flew there was an Allegiant route from Memphis to Jacksonville. which
Oh, wow.
Memphis is the closest airport to Oxford when I was in school. And yeah, they started a direct route to Jacksonville. And I think I took it once, maybe twice. Or I think maybe I was going to Orlando too. Anyway, we took off from the Memphis airport and we landed 30 minutes later. And we're like, well, that isn't long enough to have gotten to Florida. We had to emergency land because our engine was on fire. And
oh my God.
yeah. We didn't know until there was a hazmat crew on the ground, and the airport fire department had to come and put out the fire in our engine. And turns out this had happened to the same plane earlier that week. And Allegiant just hadn't taken it out of the rotation. And because it's Allegiant, it's not like Delta where there's another flight leaving in an hour. We were all stuck there overnight. And
excellent.
Yep, I remember being just so tearful and hungry because it was a month before Miss Florida at the Memphis Airport Marriott, crying, weeping because it was such a traumatic event. And that was the last time I believe I flew Allegiant.
And that's so fair. Yeah, I never had such experiences on Allegiant. We actually became quite good friends over that 1 year time period. But there's actually, I know Allegiant flies out of Newark, which is the closest airport to me here in Hoboken. But it's never a flight that I need to catch, really. It's never to Jacksonville or usually anywhere that I'm going. So haven't seen that old friend in a while. But unfortunately, Spirit was the only choice and the most cost-effective choice. In this circumstance, I kind of booked this ticket last minute. So it was really the only option. The caveat with Spirit is that they charge $100 for a checked bag, and I think even more for a carry-on. It's some whack rule that they have, and their way of being able to charge so inexpensively for their ticket is because most people do need to carry on or check a bag, and so I don't know, it's all twisted.
Who is only traveling with a backpack? I guess boys. And you this weekend?
Yeah, me this weekend, but I felt like a homeless child because I had to I brought, I think, 3 clothing items plus a leotard and a pair of tights, and I played mismatch with those clothing items for 4 days, and I borrowed a pair of pajamas from my lovely friend.
Well, right. I mean,
but that was the only way I could do it.
In January in Pittsburgh, it'd be one thing if you were going to Florida in July, because it's okay, swimsuit, lightweight, swimsuit, cover up, sandals, whatever. When you're packing in a backpack for winter weather, those clothes are bulky.
And not to mention winter weather for a dance audition. So I had to bring my tap shoes, my LaDuca boots, which are character shoe extra boots, ballet shoes, jazz shoes, my big ol' headphones that I'm wearing right now, which are not compact. I meant to say, Kelly, I think you would love these AirPods Max, but they're way too big and bulky for your travels. So I would say don't recommend for anybody who needs, just stick with your AirPods if you're trying to keep it light and tight. Yeah, so just items as such. So I really could only bring this, literally, I know nobody else can see, but Kelly, this tank top I'm wearing, I have a white pair of sweatpants and a pair of leggings. And I wore my big black SUPERPUFF, which I'll get into later, loving her, and this little puffy vest that I had, and a Lululemon Swiftly Tech long sleeve shirt. So I layered up on the plane, and then I had to, of course, wear the same outfit coming home. And so really all that I had in my suitcase, and my toiletries and my curling iron. So I was shoving things in there. Luckily, I have the world's biggest backpack of all time. It's from Lululemon. It's a hiking backpack. Definitely suggest something as such. If you live in New York City, you might look a little bit losery, but it's great for when I pack my stuff for the day and I'm just running around town. Anyway, I made it happen. I was able to put my belt bag on underneath my 2 puffers, zip it on up, wear my headphones around my neck, and put everything in that hiking backpack, and I made it. It took a toll on me, definitely, because I couldn't stop crying when I got home. So,
oh my God. Okay, well, you're home now. I think a good night's rest with more clothes at your disposal will probably be good for a hard reset.
Yeah.
But speaking of crazy check bags and whatnot, Matt, for those again who don't know, That's my fiance. I'll keep saying that just to be annoying. We haven't seen each other in like more than a week, and I'm not going to see him for another like week and a half. Like we're going to have not seen each other for 3 weeks when we both get back here, which is kind of crazy. And like, I know a lot of people have done longer. Trust me, I have too. He was deployed for 6 months and he lived in Washington and I lived in Florida. So like, give me a break. I'm not whining about this in general. I get it. People do long distance all the time. Just like, we haven't not been together for 3 weeks in like a long time. So it just feels weird. But anyway, He was in Germany and then he spent the weekend in Paris. And then today he had to head to Abu Dhabi. So he's been literally all over the world. And he texted me this morning or like at 2 a.m. and said 260 euros to check a bag based on weight. Mine is only 20 pounds. And 260 euros is like 280 something dollars. So for his 20-pound bag, it was $282. Like, he's traveling for work, so obviously he was able to expense that. But that one wins over Spirit.
Totally. And I didn't think that could be so.
No, that was what airline is that? I don't know. Some like Middle Eastern airline. Etihad? Never heard of it, but if you have a heavy check bag like me, don't recommend flying. Speaking of check bags though, we're not done here. I had kind of a whack travel week last week because I was in Orlando for Miss America. We recapped that. And then I had to get to Portland, Oregon for work. And I wasn't even going to Portland, actually. I was going to have to get to Portland and then drive an hour, kind of just like outside of, like just in the middle of Oregon. And I had a connection in Atlanta, which is where I live. So I had to go from Orlando to Atlanta. And then when I got there, our plane was delayed for maintenance, which is really annoying. But delayed.
Such a bad excuse.
Yeah. Maintenance. Like, that sounds like something you should have done before the scheduled departure. I don't know. So, and if any girlies are listening, if your plane is delayed for maintenance, like pretty much for any duration that like definitely more than an hour changes your arrival time, like you call that airline and they will compensate you because maintenance is like something that they owe you money or like a refund or something for. Whether they'll say that's not our problem and the FAA doesn't owe you anything or we don't owe you anything based on the FAA. Maintenance, yes, they do. Hold them accountable. Anyway.
Travel tips with Kelly.
So on my layover, I text the contact to the event that I'm going to in Portland, which is something I do just to make – funny enough, I've been traveling for work for a long time and it doesn't happen often, but I've had it happen a few times where I get to an event or I get where I'm going to go and then like I text the contact to confirm and they're like, oh, we moved it to tomorrow or we moved it to yesterday and you already missed it and or something else, right? So now I've made a practice of texting before I leave so that I have all the details. So I texted before I got on this plane and was like, hey, just confirming these are the details. I'll see you tomorrow around this time. And then I put my work phone away for several hours. So I knew we were going to be delayed like an hour. Now we're going on like close to 2 hours and I'm sitting on this plane starting to get really annoyed. And I pull out my work phone just as it looks like they're like finishing up the maintenance. And I have like 3 missed calls, 5 text messages, voicemails, whatever. And the event I was traveling to was canceled due to winter storms in Oregon. And as it turns out, all over the country. But Oregon was like freezing over, right? So I am like, oh my God, the event is canceled. And I am about to take off on a plane, a 4.5-hour flight from Atlanta to Oregon. I need to get off this plane. Now, I never travel with a check bag just because it's too much of a hassle. I don't generally need that much stuff because I'm going on like short adventures and I come back within a few days that I can like reset rather than like long extended things. But of course I had been coming from the pageant. So I did have a checked bag with all of my like costumes and extra hair supplies and shenanigans, whatever.
Yeah.
Accessories, gowns, my air wrap, purses, all the things. Yeah.
Of course.
But I'm like, I don't care. Like there's nothing I needed in that bag right away. So but I like tell my seat numbers. I'm like, hey, I need to get up. Like, I think I'm going to get off. The guy in the aisle is like, gets up right away. The girl in the middle seat, I'm sitting in the window, literally couldn't have moved slower. Like, is taking her sweet time. Like mumbling, grumbling, like, and I'm like, get up right now. Like, because I'm watching them. Like, I'm watching what's happening in the front with like the pilots and the maintenance, and like they're handling them like final paperwork. And I'm like, if they close this boarding door and I am still like, here's the thing, I'm getting off this plane. So if they close the boarding door and I demand that they open it and let me off, we're going to be here even longer. And they're going to have to redo this whole manifest for you guys. So please get up.
It behooves you to GTF up.
Exactly.
And let me through. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, okay, yeah, trying to get off. If you could like, please just like get up. And she was like, it wasn't like an old lady who like was having mobility issues. It was like a young girl with eyelash extensions that were way too thick. And
by the way, eyelash extensions are chuggy and they're over.
I agree. I haven't had eyelash extensions since like 2017. So I'm ahead of that trend. I looked at her and I was like, I can't see anything past your eyelash extensions and you got to get up. So anyway, I go up to the front and they're not done yet, but they're like starting to wrap up. And I'm like, hey, flight attendants, I'm trying to explain this quickly. I'm like, so the event I was going to, it got canceled because there's a storm. So can I get off the plane? And the gate agent is standing like right there. And they all just like look at each other and look at him. They're like, yeah, sure. So I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go get my bag. So I like go back to the back, get my, well, not so much the back, but like go back, get my carry-on. And I'm like, okay, so I have a checked bag, but they're like still doing maintenance stuff. So I'm like, maybe they can get somebody here. So the gate agent is like, yeah, we're not going to be able to get they're almost done. Like, we're not going to be able to get somebody here to get it off, but like it can go to Portland and then we can just have it come back here. And those may recall Caitlin, my sister, this other person on this podcast,
out of pocket clarification, but I appreciate it.
Well, another Caitlin has recently come into my life. We'll talk about her in a minute, but specifically talking about this one. Caitlin had a very, very traumatic incident with her not checked bag that wound up being a checked bag and was missing for over a month, where they gave her someone else's bag and we couldn't get it back and all of her best things were in there. So I'm like, ooh, do I really want my bag going to Portland when we know that there's storms? No, not really. But like, what's the other choice? I go to Portland with the bag and the storms? No.
I'd rather not.
Especially because from Portland, I had to get to Boston. And the only way to do that was to connect through Chicago. And I'm like, oh, winter storms? Perfect. Let me fly into Chicago, the windiest, snowiest, coldest city right now. No. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just if you can get my bag like turned back around to Atlanta, that's great. So he's like, yep, that got it. Put it in, if go talk to baggage claim, get a number, blah, blah, blah. And I'm very skeptical of this whole situation, but I'll fast forward. I actually wound up talking the ladies at the baggage office into having it delivered to my house. Like, because he's like, well, you'll have to come to the airport. And I was like, oh, okay. But then I told the ladies at baggage, I was like, well, the flight was delayed, which is why I had to get off, which was not a lie, because if the flight wasn't delayed, I would have never seen that text message and would have never known that the event was canceled, and I would have flown to Portland for no reason and been the angriest elf in America. But anyway.
Wow. Loopholes everywhere.
They agreed to set it up for delivery, and I woke up the next morning at 7:30. Like, this all goes down at like 7 p.m. 7:30 a.m. I had a notification that my bag had already made it back to Atlanta. So
slow claps for that.
Delta reigns supreme, which we already knew, but they really did everything right on this baggage thing. Yeah. And like, it was on the baggage tracker. I saw every step of like, on the plane to Portland, got to Portland, off the plane in Portland, on a new plane out of Portland, on the way to Atlanta, arrived in Atlanta, baggage claim 7 in the baggage office. So the only like wrinkle there was that it was set up to be picked up by the baggage carrier service to bring it to my house at like 7:30 a.m. And by 3 p.m. I had no update. And the podcast equipment was in there. So in order for us to record last week, I had to drive to ATL and pick it up. But the whole thing, like even me getting into the airport, getting the bag, whatever, took like 15 minutes or less. So that was a win, but crazy. And then I had to go to Boston like 2 days later, but it was but then I got a notification too that my flight from Chicago to Boston canceled. or Portland to Chicago was canceled.
Oof.
So I would have gotten totally stuck there, and I didn't. So that was a blessing. It all worked out. And thank God I looked at my phone just in the nick of time.
That's really great. And that's why you fly Delta instead of American, because American can't do anything right. And they literally can't even respond to an email eloquently or timely. So that's that on that.
That is that on that. So you mentioned your Super Puff, and I think you have mentioned it's been a favorite. Do you have any other favorites at the moment?
Oh, yes. Well, in these trying winter times, I really implore everyone to consider a Super Puff of their own. They're expensive, but I wouldn't say like the most expensive jacket on earth. I feel like the like Canada Goose and like the real hefty duty like snow jackets, if you're looking for that, are like way more. And these Super Puffs, they're very trendy, not micro trendy, like the Vanilla Girl aesthetic and Brandy Melville items, but like they're high fashion, I would say, and they really are an investment piece. It's like I know I'll have this. I have the black cropped Super Puff in, I think it's called like Ultra Gloss or something silly like that. It's a very unique material. Again, I think I've talked about this, so pardon me if I'm repeating myself, but it almost looks like a leather, but it's not. It's very weatherproof. And I knew it was going to be warm, and I knew it had a reputation for being an awesome coat, but I truly wasn't expecting the power of this Super Puff. Even when it's cold outside, like I can get hot, but not to the extent of the cold that it is right now that everyone is probably experiencing across the East Coast. Like it is cold and you cannot go outside without layers. And she has never done me wrong. It is so warm. The pockets are insulated with like a fleece. It has a removable hood, which is very big. Because you know how some hoods, like they're too small and you can't get them over your head. And like when it's raining, it's still like water driplets in your face. Like, no, this is a big, nice cone head. It fits over my headphones. And it has a little like sleeve situation with thumb holes. So overall, it's just a wonderful piece. It comes in many different lengths.
Sponsored by ARITZIA at this point.
Please, in my dreams.
I wish this was an in-pod ad. It is not. This is just Caitlin's organic take.
No, this is just my candor. I love it. And Kelly, if you are in need, because you have lots of coats. Lots of coats. Again, back to our mob wife aesthetic. Like, you are not lacking in the coat department, but I feel like what you are lacking in the coat department is like a weatherproof, practical utility coat.
Totally. And I'm out here in bright pink wool, fur trimmed, whatever, in like bad weather conditions. And yeah, I don't select coats for utility. I select them for fashion. But I see the flaw. I see the flaw.
Yes, and I truly, like, I have not left the house without it in the past month. She's great. But another thing that I have added to my list, not even my list of items, but just like my piles of shit in my room, are a new pair of sneakers. And I never thought the day would come, but I have become a New Balance girly. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Caitlin, those are like the dad shoes. Those aren't your aesthetic. And I would not argue with that. But I was kind of in this in-between stance of like, okay, I do need a new pair of like white neutral sneakers. I have these pair of On Cloud /On sneakers, Supernovas, that I absolutely love. They're a little dingy, so I was going to get a replacement pair. But then I was like, well, I mean, these are still functional, and I don't want to get the same exact pair. So I was kind of like, I want to find something that's kind of in between like athleisure, like sporty casual, and also can be like functional for not necessarily exercise, because I exercise mostly barefoot or with dance shoes. Anyway, shoes that would be suitable for, maybe like a cute casual outfit with some jeans that I'm trying to sport it up, or, my leggings and athleisure. And so I went into a little deep dive on Pinterest, on, again, the platforms, and I came across these shoes. And mostly I liked the name because I found them on Nordstrom. They're called the New Balance, 575 Plus, which is an interesting way of saying like they're classic style, but like plus 70.70 wait, what is it called? A quarter of an inch?
3/4 of an inch?
3/4 of an inch, because there's like this big platform. And as a petite gal, I really enjoy a platform. And I was unsure about them. Long story short, I got them at Foot Locker, went to the place. They were not the color that I thought, so I returned them. And then I was walking home, and I went by a Journeys, and I was like, oh, let's just see if the Journeys has them. And they did, and I liked them. And so I took a chance, and I got them. They were the only shoe I brought to Pittsburgh. It was snowing AF in Pittsburgh. There were many inches of snow. And, well, I shouldn't say many inches.
No. That's an excerpt from White Christmas.
Beautiful. I wore them in like fluffy snow that I was walking through, snow and sludge, and not one spot of like ick and schmuck got on them, because they're so high of a platform that I could just like wipe the snow right off. And the canvas little accents areas of them that are very light beige colored went untouched. So wow. I'm impressed by the utility of them once again. And also they're growing on me the more and more I wear them. They feel very feminine. They don't feel like a dad shoe in any means. And I do feel like I can dress them up or down with, some leggings, or I can also like wear them with a pair of jeans with the right fit. So
wow.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. But that
okay,
was
do you have any
thrilling.
favorites?
Yeah. Speaking of platforms, my platform Uggs, which we said we were nervous about, and then I was going to be like Godzilla towering over the world because I'm 5'6". And I am kind of feeling tall, but like I really mostly wear them around the house, in the apartment building, and in my car, like through various drive-thrus, and they're warm and nailing it. So pretty happy with
House
them.
Slippers.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about my Uggs too. I wish I had the platforms, but I have the classics, and I feel fine with them. If I were to get a replacement pair, I'd probably get the platforms, but they're just lovely. They're so cozy, and they can do no wrong.
Exactly. The other thing on a pivot from apparel is vanilla Diet Coke. And I need to be very clear. I am not talking about like a booth formula. I don't even know if they make vanilla Diet Coke. I think they probably have. I know that they make Coke Zero vanilla.
Yeah.
Earlier or last week, I guess, I was on my way back from somewhere. I don't remember. And I just decided I needed to go to Sonic in Sandy Springs, which was way out of the way, but I went anyway. And specifically for I was just like feeling like like a soda beverage with flavor.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't want to just like stop and get a DC anywhere. You were like,
well, I almost was like, I want like a Diet Coke, a fountain Diet Coke. But then I was like, I really want like a Diet Coke with something in it. Where can I get that? And the answer was Sonic. And this is where I'm like, you know what? I bet one of those like Swigs or whatever those places in Utah are that like make the sodas, like the soda bars, would be great. Yeah. But Sonic really kind of does the same thing. So I went there and I ordered a Diet Coke with vanilla. So like literally like a vanilla syrup in a traditional Diet Coke. And it was so good. I loved it. I was so happy. I slurped it all down before I even walked into Trader Joe's pretty much.
Oh, I hate when that happens, but it's a good thing.
I know. Because I always like, you know what isn't consistent is fast food sized beverages.
No.
Like sometimes I order like a medium or a regular, and it is like literally the biggest drink I've ever held in my hands. It's like 80,000 ounces. And then sometimes like Chick-fil-A, their medium drink is like not very big at all.
Small.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, I was like, I looked up, I was in Boston Thursday, Friday. And after my event on Friday where I spoke, I was like, what I would do for another vanilla Diet Coke. And I looked up Sonic, and the closest one was like 40 miles away in Connecticut. So I didn't do that. But I got to the Delta Sky Club and realized that they have a soda fountain and a latte bar with vanilla syrup. So I made my own vanilla Diet Coke, and I put that soda fountain Diet Coke in there, and then I went and put some pumps of vanilla. I was a little worried I was like not going to know the proportions, but I gave it my best shot. And it hit so good. So what did I do?
Wow.
I went on Amazon and I ordered my own bottle of vanilla syrup. So vanilla Diet Coke coming to an apartment near you.
Well, I'm excited because I get to mooch off you so soon, and I get to have my own daily vanilla Diet Coke. But Kelly, I just was at Target, and I assume that the Target dollar sections are kind of like cohesive across America. I would hope so. If not, that's kind of fun too. Like, it's kind of a unique experience. Anyway, they have lots of iterations of like a pump bottle.
Oh,
like
the
yeah,
cute
like
ones.
not one for like soap. It like cute, like aesthetic ones.
Oh,
That'd be cute if you transferred it into kind of like a decorative bottle.
Yeah,
and you could have it by your little coffee bar, so it doesn't look so like Sonic-y.
Industrial. Yeah. Oh, good call. Good call. I'll look. I'm leaving Wednesday for LA. Well, actually San Diego. I start in San Diego, then I'm going up to LA for the weekend, and then back to San Diego, and then I have to fly to Phoenix and drive to Sedona. So I have a big week ahead, but yeah, after that
West Coast tour.
I'll go looking for the pump bottle. The other thing that's been going on, well, firstly, backwards, I know I just gave Delta props, but I'm going to keep them humble and stay honest here. I'm pissed at them because I have a Delta Sky Club membership because I'm a Diamond Medallion, and you get 3 choice benefits just like for becoming Diamond. And last year, there were the options were good. And there are many options. You can like choose points. You can choose a Delta gift card, essentially. You can choose to donate your miles or like give them like a green credit. Obviously, who's doing that? You can donate status to someone else. But
it's very kind. And selfless.
Sorry, I didn't do that. But I did do that with Marriott. I gave mom platinum status, which I thought was pretty nice. Anyway,
that's really nice.
So one of the Delta options last year was for one benefit, one of 3, you could choose an individual Delta Sky Club membership, or for 2 choice benefits, 2 of your 3, you could choose an executive membership, which means that like you can bring guests, like up to 2 guests. Well, I don't normally travel with other people. Like most of my work travel is solo. So it didn't really make sense for me to use 2 benefits for me to bring a guest because that just doesn't happen that often. Especially like sometimes I'm traveling and like meet someone at the airport, but we're not normally like traveling together on the same flight on Delta, So I used one of my benefits for my Sky Club membership, and it has really come in handy, not because I have layovers very much, but just like they have better bathrooms. I can like run in really quickly, grab a latte and jump out and go board my flight, my vanilla Diet Coke before this flight, just like it's doing what it's intending to do. Well, they made all these changes to the Delta Sky Club eligibility this year, most of which were directed at the credit card people. So like people that have Delta credit cards had unlimited access to the lounges, and like they were overrun in many places because everybody has a Delta credit card apparently, which
crazy.
The likes of me who fly all the time and fly on Delta and have truly earned my Diamond status by way of spending money with the airline, not just my credit card spending. I was, I agreed. It was too much. They needed to cut those people out. Well, I was like all high and mighty that like I could not wait for them to get out of the lounges with all these new restrictions. Well, guess what? They did away with the individual Sky Club membership for one of your choice benefits. The only option I had was to use 3 of my choice benefits, so all of them, for an executive membership where I can bring me and 2 guests to the Sky Club, which is totally wasteful and useless and antithetical to the point of getting people out of the Sky Club because, me and my guests, like who's doing that? And that is not like maybe family travelers, which like, ew, stop overrunning the Sky Club. By executive,
that's not who the Sky Club is designed for.
No, and by executive, I think they mean business travelers. Well, I'm a business traveler, so I like called Delta and was like, I want to talk to someone about this because I'm a business traveler. Most business travelers travel alone. The fact that you've done away with me even being able to get an individual membership without paying $700 is crazy and offensive to my loyalty. And the guy was like, yeah, I totally agree. He said, I used to work in the Sky Club. And the executive members or people who, whatever, the business travelers said to me, I'm not traveling with clients. I'm flying to my clients, which is exactly true. So I am getting kicked out of my Sky Club access on January 31st.
Wow.
And I am not happy about it. I, for one, don't think I am who those changes were directed at. frequent business flyers. I think they were directed at leisure credit card holders who just,
or like traveling to Hawaii with their 14 children and are hogging the space of the sky clubs. Well, I bet your fellow business travelers appreciate you lobbying on behalf of them and their benefits.
I tried, and they are assuring me that if I re-earn Diamond this year, like because they've made it harder to earn too, that the benefits are supposed to be better.
Wow.
We shall see about that. We shall see.
So you have to go 1 year without your Delta Sky Club benefits?
Possibly not a whole year. It's until I earn Diamond, and then could potentially use whatever Diamond. Like if they keep it the same, then no. But if earning Diamond for 2025 allows you to have that option, like they haven't rolled out the 2025 options yet, I don't think. I don't know. I'm mad
Well,
about
this is unfortunate, and I'm really sorry to hear this news.
Thank you for your support. I appreciate your compassion. And if you have a Delta credit card, I don't want you to feel attacked. I'm just personally offended and upset about this as someone who lives in Atlanta and travels for work and only flies Delta. I'm lashing out. So don't take it personally if you're one of the people that I just mentioned. It's not about you.
It's
about
not
me.
Personal. It's just business. Literally.
Exactly. The only other thing I was going to say, well, two things, is that I don't know what's gotten into me lately, but I have approached 2 random couples in the hallway of my apartment building to ask them to be my friend in the last 48 hours. But it's
and kind of uncharacteristic.
Yeah, exactly. But I think because Matt's gone, I've hung out with my one friend here in Atlanta. Or two, I have a few more friends, but I saw my girlfriends this weekend, and I'm like, who else can I be friends with? But we need more couple friends in Atlanta. We have one steady couple relationship of ours that we go to dinner with regularly. But a lot of our friends have kids or are having kids, and we're just not on that journey right now. So it definitely changes the social calendars and whatever. So we're kind of on the hunt for more childless couple friends. Not necessarily setting out to do this. It just, it is in the back of my mind. So anyway, I was walking into my apartment last night, and I saw this couple who looks about our age walking into their apartment directly across from us. And I had never seen them there before. So I was like, hey, are you guys new to the building? And they said, no, we moved in August, whatever. So I introduced myself. They introduced themselves. They are newly engaged. They got engaged in August. And we were like, okay, bye. And I regretted not getting their number or saying we should get together sometime or whatever. So I was so creepy, and maybe this is just how people used to meet friends. I don't know. I texted Matt and was like, should I ask these people to hang out with us? And he's like, yeah, why not? So I wrote our names on a piece of paper and names and numbers and said we should be friends, ! Text me if you want to grab a drink. But before I did that, I knocked on their door, and I knew they were in there because I literally had just watched them go inside. Knocked on their door, and I could hear them inside, and they didn't answer.
Wait, was this before you slipped the paper under the door?
I had just, I had just, well, no. So what I had done is I had written our names and phone numbers on the paper. I didn't write a note. I just had the names and numbers. Okay. So I was going to be like, hey, knock, knock. Here's our numbers. If you want to hang out. Well, so then they don't answer. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they didn't hear it, right? So I wait a few more minutes and I knock louder.
So you knocked again.
I know.
Kelly.
I know. But no, I don't think they heard me. Because think about our apartment, which you've been in. If you're not standing right by the door, you would not hear someone knocking on the door. So I gave it a few minutes. And then I was like, okay, I can't knock again. Actually, I think I did knock a third time. But I was like, okay, I can't knock a fourth time. So then I went back into my apartment and I wrote a note and said nice to meet you, neighbors. We should hang out. And
you should have brought them a roast.
Well, there's a few problems with that plan. I don't know how to make a roast. I didn't have any roast supplies. We didn't have time for that. No, I wasn't making a roast. So I wrote my little note and I stuck it in the door. And that was that. And I'm like, if they don't text me, I'm moving out.
You have to move.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you have to move out.
You have to move out.
Answer.
So that was on.
Or actually, they have to move out because you were there first. So
right. Okay. Well, that was on Saturday. I don't know when it was. Yeah, I think probably Saturday. They didn't text me. And when I left yesterday, the note was not in the door anymore. So they got the note. And I was like, wow, okay. Cool, Caitlin and Rob. I feel really embarrassed. Well, today as I was on a
You've been
meeting.
humbled.
Well, because today I was on a meeting and I got a text. Hi, Kelly. This is Caitlin. I feel like I should protect her identity, but like fiance and I would love to grab
Caitlin's
drinks.
on blast.
Fiance and I would love to grab. She said her fiance's name. I'm just like protecting her identity here. Would love to grab drinks with you and Matt. I am traveling for work most of the week, but we are around on Friday. So we're not around on Friday. I'm in LA.
Oh.
Yeah, but we texted and we're gonna go to Bar Taco, like in 2 weeks with Caitlin and
That's
fiance.
so cute.
Yeah. So
Can I come? Little baby Kate? You do have a child, actually.
Yeah.
It's me.
Right.
The one who watches Mulan with Matt.
We
Like Vera
can-
Ellen.
Vera May.
I still get them confused.
But we can
For
leave
the
you
record,
alone.
Vera Ellen is a famous dancer from the 50s who was the original Judy in White Christmas. Anyway, you can leave me alone. Yes, this is true.
Yeah, well, we shouldn't probably, but we do. So anyway, so we have plans with new friends, right? So then tonight, literally right after I finish this meeting, I go back to my apartment and I need to take the trash out. So I take the trash out. I'm walking back, and the literal other apartment next to ours, on the other side of us, this like cutie couple who I've never seen before starts like opening the door. And this, I can't help myself. I was like, hi, are you guys new here? Like, they're going to compare notes.
I haven't seen you before.
And be like, is this girl the welcoming committee? Like, what's going on? Meanwhile, I like got back in the apartment and I realized I looked insane. Like, I had like trash sweatpants on, my Uggs, this sweater. I had my hair in like an updo clip thing that like is like not really a look I can pull off. I thought I was like looking kind of cute and casual. No, I wasn't. Anyway, the reason why I like definitely stopped to talk to them though is because I know who used to live there, and it wasn't them. It was the owner of two very scary dogs, aka a pit bull and a like Doberman.
Basset hound. Not a
Absolutely not a basset hound. A Doberman.
hound. All right, mob wife.
Yeah. And you know what? Pit bull mommy's like, I'm not coming for you. All I'm going to say is this pit bull lunged out the door at me one time when they like the owner opened the door but didn't have their leash like tight. And I was just walking by their apartment and it literally almost bit me in the leg just walking by. So like, I'm not all dogs, but like these dogs were freaking scary. And I'm already like on edge about big dogs. Anyway, I would like hear them around the corner, and they always had me so flipped out because they are scary and an aggressive breed. And he didn't really keep great control of them. So I was thrilled.
The owner had to wear, sorry, just one more note about the dogs. The owner had to wear a belt, a chain link belt with chain link leashes attached to his waist. It was crazy.
Right.
These dogs were in no condition to be living in an apartment building, but like probably be household pets. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. He was like a big guy too, but I think he couldn't control them both on the leash, so he had to wear the belt so that they couldn't like jerk him.
Wild.
Yeah. So that's
like
what we're
state
talking
prison
about
in there.
And I would hear them, like as I'd walk past his door, I'd hear them like growling at the front door. So needless to say, to see that these two people seemingly had just moved in there who were absolutely not the residents before, I was absolutely over the moon. Couldn't help myself. Was like, hi, are you guys new to the building? And they were like, yeah, we just moved in last week. I was like, oh my God. Well, I live around the corner with my fiance, Matt. What are your names? And their names, I don't know if I should be sharing this either, but they were like, I won't say their names. I don't know why I feel weird about this, but I'm just like not trying to.
Oh my God! Wait,
details.
No, that's probably good because we're gonna get like a little bit. We're gonna bond, and then we're gonna be like, listen to our podcast, and they're gonna be like, WTF? Why are you talking about us?
Right. I was like, oh, like where'd you guys move from? And they said Tuscaloosa, and they just graduated from Alabama, which kind of freaked me out because I'm like, oh, well, I'm 29 and my fiance is 33. Why are we living in the same apartment complex as you? Like, am I poor? What's going on?
Good taste.
Yeah, but I guess like I'm happy for them. It's just like everyone else here is also like about 30, 35 years old. So it's an interesting choice for them, especially the area. This is like not an area where like a lot of young Atlanta people live. But
they
anyway,
probably have sponsors. They
probably have sponsors. I'm thrilled for them. And she was like asking me about the trash, like how does the valet trash work? And I was like, do you have your phone? I'll give you my number. and just put my number right in her phone, which like now I've realized like she doesn't know my name. So like how is she going to find my number and my name?
You didn't put your contact name
I did,
with
but
the number?
think about it. If you talk to someone and like didn't remember their name, but you knew their number was in your phone, like how would you find it? Because you don't know their name to like type it. I mean, I told her my name, but I don't expect her to remember.
Right, I see.
But yeah, so they're 22 and like I was laughing, like Matt's about to be 34. So like we probably actually don't have a lot in common with this particular couple.
No, but I might.
But you might.
In fact, older than them, which is crazy. But this is actually funny because, spoiler alert, I heard this story before we started recording. And it was via text. I was of the assumption these were two girls, like just two girl roommates, like two grads. And I don't know why, because like now that I think about it, like one is typically a boy name, but it was kind of like could go either way. And so just in my head,
they were
it was
a couple.
like,
okay.
No, I thought it was like two girlies who just moved in, like, because that's where my head is at, is like girly roommates.
Oh, no, if it was girly roommates, I would have like forced myself in the apartment and been like, tell me everything. What sorority were you in?
Right. Did you mention me? If not, that was like kind of rude.
No, I did. I said, oh my God, my sister just graduated from Alabama. And then I was like, I guess in 2022.
It's like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but you're just a year older than them. But like, yeah, Alabama's a big school.
That's true.
But and I was like, I went to Ole Miss, and then he said he was. I don't know how we got there, but he said he's from Melbourne, Florida. So like we're from Florida, like lots in common.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, and I'm on a roll with making new friends. And I mean, these people are the apartment to our right, and the other couple is the apartment to our left. And when I tell you, like, we don't know anyone else who lives in this building, and we've lived here for 2 years. I'm starting something new in 2024, and it's called making new neighbor friends.
Well, that's fantastic, and I think that you should host functions.
Yeah,
hence
Galentine's Day
idea, and that is why I was like, there are two girly girls next to you, like we can invite them to Galentine's Day.
Yeah,
I see where that's just like minus one person, but I have lots of friends in Atlanta that I would like to invite.
Well, we can work on a party plan.
So.
The other thing I wanted to mention that is like news of the week, and then this is all I've got, is the other thing I started as a resolution kind of in 2024 was I decided I was going to learn French before my trip to Paris in April for my birthday. So
Emily in Paris of you.
Thank you. I downloaded Duolingo and I paid $60 for the upgraded Super Duolingo version. So I'm like, I made a financial commitment to take it seriously.
Okay.
And I'm on a 6-day streak with Duolingo. And I can like low-key read basic French already.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, yes, this is an educational experience for you and it will add value to your life, especially in April for your upcoming trip. But also, like, let's just recognize the importance of hobbies. They're so important for your well-being. Like, I would consider podcasting a hobby, and it fills my cup with so much joy.
I'm so glad.
And I think you can add Duolingo plus Supreme to your list of hobbies. And that's so wonderful, and I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
Savage says get a hobby.
Savage says get a hobby. I actually was just talking hobbies because we have a new hire on our team, and she had like a homework assignment to learn about her director. So she had a bunch of questions for me, which I loved because I loved talking about myself. Hence this podcast.
Did you send her to the Savage Says podcast?
I probably should. But no, she
found out a lot.
Well, she asked me what my hobbies were. And I said in order, pageants, dance, and theater. And then I said, and then dining and then whining. And there's actually two lines for whining. One is WINING. The other one is WHINING.
Of course.
But yeah, I should add learn French to the list, which honestly, speaking French kind of sounds like whining.
Yeah.
It's very like, oh, je m'appelle Kelly, une pizza, you know?
I know. It's kind of
which
like
was,
definitely
my name is Kelly,
French.
a pizza.
I know, because actually I took French 1 and 2 in high school, which was pretty cool because I went to a performing arts high school, and it kind of like in my head it like coincided with like being a dance major. I was like, I do ballet and French. But the fact is, and this has no repercussions anymore because I am not only out of high school but out of college, I cheated my way through French 1 and 2. So I didn't actually know what that meant.
Well, I honestly, I bet Duolingo probably was around, at least when I was in college, but like it has taught me more French than like the 5 years of Spanish class I had to take between high school and college in a quick amount of time. I think the other thing too is like I want to learn this time around, whereas like Spanish I was just trying to get through. But some of it really like they weren't lying when they said it all kind of like is the same, like Latin-based Romance languages, because like some of the grammar rules that like literally took me years to learn in Spanish, like the fact that when you're talking about you, like is tu, and the verbs would be plural for like in an inexplicable reason. Well, it's the same in French. And so I've kind of caught on to that really quickly because of the years of Spanish that I took. But I am mixing some things up because like you use tu as you sometimes, but then other times you use toi. And then I kind of like, I'm thinking like, oh, Spanish, and I put tu, and it's not, because that's Spanish, not French. But it's only been 6 days. I think I have 4 months. I think I can absolutely be fairly proficient. You know, I don't think I'm going to be like giving a dissertation in French, but I think I should be able to.
But no one requires you to do that.
Right. I think I should be able to
Unless
talk to
you'll have IAF.
The IAFF does not include French firefighters. That I guess that could be the IAFF, FFF, International Association of French Firefighters. But no, they're not included. Although there are Canadian firefighters that speak French. So
that's so true.
I could be expert level Rehab Kelly in another lifetime. Wonderful. But yeah, that's what's up. Merci beaucoup.
Paris coming in 2024 spring. And on that note, we gotta go.
Oh my god! Actually,
we've been recording.
You know what has like been kitty corner? You know what my first vocab word was in French? Cat.
Kitty.
Cat,
oh
and it's
god.
Chat. It's spelled chat, CHAT, but you say chat.
That's right.
So,
well, actually, fun fact: an alternate title for this podcast was "Du Chat."
2 cats,
which is kind of a lie, but
we tossed it around.
Also, kind of not. Yeah, we tossed it around. 2 cats. Du Chat.
Oh my god!
And hence the kitty.
Bonjour, chat.
Kitty boutique.
Shots.
Shot.
Oh, that's the other one I learned is nice to meet you is enchanté, which I feel like is also part of like RuPaul somewhere, which is why I knew that phrase. But
chanté, chanté.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Wait,
the same.
what does it mean?
Enchanté, so like enchanted essentially. Means nice to meet you.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I know. I love just like making English words French. Like
terrifique.
I can't think of an example. Yes, exactly. Fantastique.
Magnifique. Yeah. Savage says,
Voulez-vous
coucher avec moi, Monsieur? That's like something sexual. So we don't say that actually. But
that's the Moulin Rouge stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, which is French. So I know some vocab words from that as well, and just generally being fabulous and liking chic things and croissants, etc. So with that, bonjour, au revoir, enchanté.